Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish.
Well, hello there. It is the Daily Dish, and today's Tuesday. So you know what that means. Transformational Tip Tuesday. Already we have Jocelyn in the house. Hello, Jocelyn. It's really good to have you here. Jocelyn, by the way, has a great story of how she just completely transformed and changed everything in her life. So I'm always delighted to see Jocelyn. She's lovely. Margot's in the house. Good to see you, Margot. She's keeping her appointments. You know, I'm going to talk about this because everybody needs to hear, you know, when we make appointments for ourselves to say, go to the doctor or the eye doctor or make an appointment to take your dog to the vet, y'all show up, don't you? Make appointments for yourself for the things that are important to you that you end up kind of putting off and then it never happens. That's one of my biggest tips that I can give you. And allow that to be a cosmic 2x4, if you will. I think it works. That's what it's worked really well for me. Autumn is in the house. There's our girl, Ellen. Hello, Ellen. Lily, I'm glad to see you as well. So listen, our quote of the week, it's a good one. Maturity begins when you can be right without having to prove the other person wrong. And I'm just going to go on record as saying, I know a whole bunch of people who adults can't do this. I know a whole bunch of people. Sometimes they're men, not saying that they always are, but sometimes they are men. Kathy's in the house too. My chemistry teacher is here, so that's going to be good because we're talking chemistry today. Anyway, so that is really quite exciting, isn't it? When we make that decision to grow up a little bit and to stop having to prove the other person wrong. You know what I think? This is my personal belief. I'm just gonna let karma take care of itself. It just will. You know, I don't need to expend that kind of energy on that kind of stuff. I learned that at an early age. So take that for what you want with that blah, blah, blah. Jane, hello, you're in the house. Now, on Tuesday, a week from today, are you hearing me? We have a brand new goal setting webinar that is going to rock your world because I'm going to tell you right now why. We are funny creatures of habit, aren't we? We are funny creatures of habit. We think this year it's going to be different, or else we are the other way around. And we say, you know what? I've tried. It's never worked. Well, I was one of the ones who tried again. And as a matter of fact, on the savingdinner.com/journal page, I have an actual photo of the stack of all of the planners that I had tried, the goal setting planners that I had tried. They never worked. They were either too complex or they just weren't enough. Hey there, Denise. So I made my own and it worked, and it's gotten better and better and better as the years have gone on. And now it looks like this. It is the Take Back Your Life journal. And y'all helped me really hit the high points on this one. But this is something that I really want you all to, well, first of all, I want you to all get it at savingdinner.com/journal, because this is a 12-week planner that will change the whole trajectory of everything that you're doing. That's number one. Number two, I'm going to give you the whole whys and wherefores and why this works and how simple this system that I created is. And that will be next Tuesday. All you have to do is 7 p.m. Eastern, go grab your seat. savingdinner.com/goals. That's where that's located. And I'm telling you about this over and over again because I don't want anybody to say, oh, I tried to get in and I couldn't. We only pay for a few hundred seats, because that's how this whole platform is. We only, and then it gets cut off. So you want to go get your seat. That's all there is to it. Gracie's in the house and she's not missing any of this. I'm so glad to have you here, Gracie. All righty. We're going to dig right in because let me tell you, well, before we do that though, let me tell you about a page that earmarks everything. It's called savingdinner.com/announcements. This is where you'll find the journal. You'll find out about the rising tide. You'll find out about the goal planning webinar that's coming up. You'll find out about everything. It's all linked up and ready for you. Okay. So that way, if you miss anything, it's all right here. Alice is here. Are you guys ready for Alice to be here? I sure am. Anyway, let's get busy. Today we're going to be talking again. Let me go ahead and bring on TikTok. Today we are talking about managing our emotions, because managing our emotions, to me, that's the key to getting what it is that we want out of this life that we're trying to lead. Hello, TikTok, welcome. And of course to YouTube and Facebook, we're all here. And this week's topic is spot on. I don't know about you, but I need this. Don't we all? Pinkies up if you feel like you need it. So let's get into it. Joe Dispenza had this to say about emotions. He says they're chemical records of the past. Okay, I want you to tuck that little quote in the back of your head as we go through all of this stuff, because this is imperative to understanding how we get past all of this stuff and how we start to create new experiences for ourselves instead of living the same old Groundhog Day type of a life, right? This is the cool part. Hey, Amber. Amber's over here. Taking names over there. Now, I don't know about you. Kathy, sorry for this. Hey, Christy, Deborah, I'm glad you're here. I don't know. Kathy is our high school teacher. She's a chemistry high school teacher. I hated high school chemistry with a passion. I had a fabulous teacher. Do you know, I got put into my Whittier High School Hall of Fame. And when I was there at the big ceremony, there's Mr. Chu. Mr. Chu was my chemistry teacher. And I was in his class and I finally said, I'm going to go sing in choir. I left chemistry and went to choir because I was just like, I'm not having any of this. I didn't see the connection to why is this important? Who needs a periodic table of elements? The whole thing was just like, psh, I want to be a writer. This has nothing to do with me. Well, do you know Mr. Chu remembered me? He was like, yeah, Leanne, I remember you. And we had a really wonderful conversation. I was very impressed with him and he was just so great. Karen, hello. I'm glad to have you here. So of course, when you don't see the connection behind something, when you don't have all of the dots connected on everything, you dismiss it. It's not relevant to you. And that's how I was with, high school chemistry. But what I missed was that the connection of chemistry to everything is everywhere. I missed that. And it wasn't until much later I realized and recognized and saw that our body's chemical reactions are very much influenced by us. It's like what Joe Dispenza says is our emotions are chemical records of the past. So when we understand that our chemistry is affected by our thoughts and our feelings and our emotions and all the other stuff, we can literally change if we choose to do so. If we say that this is something that I hotly desire and we are in conflict, we can change our perspective, which will again turn around and start to change our body's chemistry. Isn't that neat? Because our chemistry will support those things that we want if we put everything in alignment. I'm going to get into that in just a minute because I just want you to see the yumminess of the whole thing. Hey, Catherine. And that is, everything is connected, y'all. You cannot escape the connection. So you change a thought, you change your chemistry. Yeah. You change a feeling, you change your chemistry. And more precisely, you change your focus on the thing that you want. Because if we focus, and most people do, on the very thing that we don't want, instead of on the thing that we do want, we're going to start making body chemicals and decisions and everything else. It all flows and it all connects and it all goes together. And we start to just shift. Listen to Kathy, she knows. Don't you, Kathy? Chemistry is everywhere and it's delightful. And in my opinion, now that I see this, now that I understand this, now that I've experienced it personally, it is an art form. And it is just incredible the way our bodies work. Yes, we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Not here by accident. We are not biological accidents, y'all. We're not. We are here on purpose and for purpose. And our body's chemistry is going to help us or hinder us. And you get to use this thing. This is the prefrontal cortex, this is the control panel. And you get to control which way this whole thing goes. This is where it gets really super cool. This is where it gets great. So when your focus shifts, your perception, of course, is going to follow, right? You understand how that works. Perception leads to different thoughts, and different thoughts lead to different emotions. And then those emotions, of course, lead to different feelings. Remember, an emotion is a body's response, and feelings are basically, this is what happens because of them, right? We feel certain things because of emotions that wave over us. So there you go. That's all I have for you. And thank you for attending my TED Talk. And we'll all leave now. Because really that is the crux of the matter. But I'm gonna unpack it a little bit more for you because it really is important. What we're ultimately talking about is the ability to orchestrate our body's response to what it is that we want. Orchestrate our body's response. When we start being aware of, then we can start to be a little bit more present with. Instead of rolling around in the past, we're in the present and we are doing things differently than what we did in the past. When we go into the past, we roll around in the old emotion, the old feelings and everything and relive it. But when we stop that and instead decide that we are going to orchestrate what is going to happen next, things start to really shift and really change. Because your thoughts are signals that change your biology. Isn't that so cool? I mean, somebody here tell me that doesn't just give you goosebumps. I know it is Kathy, because she's a chemistry teacher, but that gives me goosebumps because regardless of if your thoughts are based on the truth or not, your body's chemistry is going to change. Remember, we don't have a moral compass per se within our body's chemistry, but what we do have inside of us is our body's ability to react chemically. I'm going to bring this all around. So stay with me on this because this is really important stuff. This is why so many of us believe the big fat lie that we're not enough, right? Because our thoughts are signaling and our chemistry is following and saying, yeah, that's true. And we start to feel depressed and down and lethargic. And we start putting thoughts on repeat and it just keeps dampering and pushing us down. That's our body's chemistry doing that. So as our brain signal, our bodies interpret these messages. I mean, this is basic stuff, right? Back me up here, Kathy. For good, for bad, or for worse. That's how this whole stuff works. And what we have is a tool that every single person has in their holster. Every single person. You ready? It's the ability to step back and to analyze and to evaluate what the heck is going on here. You can step out of the whirlpool of negativity and the horrible thought. You can step out of it and just say, time out, hold the phone. What's up here? What is going on? What's the pattern? What am I believing? Is it true? Or is it just something that's happening? Because hear me for a minute. Just because you feel it doesn't mean that it's necessarily the truth. Our feelings can lie to us because sometimes they're conditioned by past trauma, culturally, whatever, into believing something that is classically just not true for you. I mean, Anybody ever be in a relationship with a narcissist who's telling you on repeat that you're not worthy of anything? After a while, you start to believe that lie. And your body reacts to that. And the chemistry that happens with you puts you on that continual negative loop. But again, we go back to this thing and make a decision to step out and to step away and to say, wait a second. Because this was said, does that mean that this is true? Do I need to believe this feeling? Can I step away from it? And can I reset somehow? In pickleball, I use pickleball analogies all the time now that I'm massively involved in pickleball. One of the things that you have to do sometimes is reset because things are just kind of going bonkety bonk, bonk, bonk. Hey, crazy grandma. Nice to have you here over on TikTok. We got crazy grandma on TikTok. And one of the things that you need to do is after a big battle, you're hitting in the non-volley zone and you're going back and forth, you gotta reset and get back so that you can block the shots and so that you can get back into the game. A reset is necessary. A reset's absolutely imperative for every single person on the planet. Because if we keep going from this place of just with the dregs and with just the leftover and saying, oh, here we go again, we don't get out of that negative loop. We get to the place of a reset when we step out and we say, hold up. I need to reevaluate what the heck is going on here. Karen is asking, do narcissists believe themselves? Oh, I'm sure they do. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's not at all the truth. Narcissists are narcissists, right? There's my girl, Nancy. Hey, Mother Hen, cheers to you. So this, as our brain signals, our bodies are going to interpret the message. You know that. But it's through analysis and evaluation that we can reset, that we can see things a little bit differently because now we've pulled ourselves out of the loop, out of that bone-sucking, energy-draining negativity that pulls us down. And we can see the truth and non-truths for what they truly are. We can figure it out. It's interesting. And, this happens to people all the time, right? We find ourselves in a place, and, way back when, 21 years ago, when I first had Saving Dinner, I started Saving Dinner, and that time it was called Menu Mailer. Some of y'all might remember that from way back in the day. I would get one negative customer service email and it would make me go down like this versus the tens and hundreds of people who said, oh, thank you so much for Menu Mailer. It's a lifesaver. I really appreciate it, or whatever. Thank you for your knowledge and nutrition, and thank you for this and thank you for that. I would dwell on the one negative thing. Human nature, we do that. So we need to step out of that and understand that is our propensity. And I think that's probably our amygdala, again, once again, doing that kind of dirty work with us. But it's important that we have this shift. And psychologists tell us that this shift in thoughts and focus will automatically create a different chemistry. Yay! We need a different chemistry, so we need to do that. So the body chemistry, and hopefully it's new and improved, will change your feelings, which is a direct expression of your emotions. Remember, your emotions come first, and then your feelings happen as a result of. So Joe Dispenza, again, Dr. Joe Dispenza, he reminds us that the body is the objective mind, because it feels and it experiences. It doesn't know the difference between something actually happening or a memory, because they both create emotion. Okay, not always, but mostly. Remember the story about the brain scans with the concert pianist. The concert pianist was told to play the piano just like he would normally, and he gets emotionally involved and invested in his piano playing. He's an artist, right? And they got brain scans showing his brain. And then they did it with just do it on the desk and pretend that you're playing that piano, but give it everything that you've got, just like you did with the piano. And his brain scan is exactly the same, which is why they did this, because that was their theory, that we can experience things over and over and over again, unfortunately, on a continual loop if we allow our minds to go there. And this is just absolutely And this shows you that that is true. And when we don't take the time to evaluate and analyze, is this thought serving me? Then we just continue on this Groundhog Day type of existence, which really sucks. And we do this on repeat, daily, 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 on repeat. So a lot of us live in fight or flight, with this adrenaline constantly turned on. And the thing is, we're not running away from some kind of a wild animal. We're picking up a child from underneath a car. We're just going to soccer practice and picking up a kid, and we're late or something like that. So when we live with that switch on all the time, what do you think happens to us? We live on burnout. We become adrenaline junkies, and we're hooked on living this way. And we don't know when to turn it off is the problem, because there is no switch. It's just on, and it's draining us, and it just feels awful. So our thoughts create this incredible overload of stress. The new balance of being wired all the time, well, that creates tired all the time. Have you heard that before? Wired and tired? This is what happens, especially with women. We take everything so seriously. We do most of the things ourselves, don't we? We plan the activities, we execute on them. We're in charge of the cupcakes at, in grade school for the class party. We're in charge of this, we're in charge of that, and our husbands expect this. And I mean, honestly, the whole thing can become this big old jumble of an overload of stress. That's just what it is. And so what do our thoughts do? They create this overload of stress. We're not made to run like this, though. That's not the way it's supposed to be. It's like driving with your foot all the way down on the pedal at all times. Remember that movie Speed? That didn't work out so well, did it? Well, I guess it did finally at the end. But, that's no way to run a school bus. That's for sure. But we have to look at it because the mind-body connection is everything. And the mind-body connection, those thoughts literally can get you sick over time. I'm convinced that I blew my thyroid out way, way back in my early 40s. I'm convinced that I blew it out. The stress was crazy. And at the time, I remember having panic attacks and having to literally breathe into a brown paper bag. But then all of a sudden my thyroid was gone, and, I don't know, I gained like 30 pounds in 3 months. The nodules came, the exhaustion came, and I was a completely different woman, completely different woman. So Dispenza, though, here, listen to this. He hypothesizes that if we can think thoughts that make us sick, we can also think thoughts that can make us well. I say, yeah, of course. Remember this? Every little cell in my body is happy. You can look her up. She's right here on TikTok, by the way. I think you could just do a thing that says every little cell in my body is happy. Go take a peek at that and watch this lady. She'll tell your story. 64 years old. She had stage 4 colon cancer, right? And she decided to talk to her body. And this is something that I have done, that I did when I got into remission with my thyroid. I wasn't on death's door like stage 4 cancer, but she turned everything around. And when she went in for her PET scan and everything, guess what they discovered? Everything was gone. Tumors gone. Everything was gone. We do have a connection with our body. Every little single cell in our body has to listen to somebody. What if we were in touch with that? What if we were in touch with, now I'm not telling anybody here that you're going to go heal your body or whatever. I'm going to just tell you about the lady, the lady who sings the happy song to the cells in her body. And I'm also telling you my story about Hashimoto's. I was sick. I was tired. I couldn't move. The fatigue was ridiculous. 3 huge nodules, rosacea, plantar fasciitis. I mean, I was a walking ball of inflammation. And my face was as round as the moon. And my doctor was like, what up? Missing hair, no eyebrow. I mean, I was a complete and utter mess. But I started with a meditative practice. And then that meditation practice, toward the end of my meditation, I would think about my thyroid and just saying, you're going to get well. You're going to get happy. And, this, what to do. This is not new to you. And we need to pow, 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 you know, put on the bracelets like Wonder Woman and get rid of those antibodies. I did get better. I did a ton of stuff. And there's all the things that I did, by the way, is here on my TikTok videos and explaining how I got through, like 10 things that I did in order to help heal my Hashimoto's. And I don't call it my Hashimoto's, I call it Hashimoto's because I will not own that, right? It's that habit, don't own something you don't want. So get rid of those proper pronouns. But this is how this whole thing is. We have to drop into where our bodies are and not just sit there like an observer. This is our bodies that we're talking about. Does this click in? Is this making sense to you? I haven't read Dr. Sarno page, but I'm going to now that you tell me about that. Thank you. So I want you to, a couple of things that you want to do with all this emotional stuff is recognize and realize, number one, that this is not just, okay, just do it. Because your amygdala is going to be screaming along the way. Now remember, your amygdala is the fear center of your brain. And the amygdala's job is to keep you safe from the saber-toothed tigers that were chasing you down, you know, a millennial ago, or 2 or 5 or whatever, and not happening anymore, right? So we need to calm down our amygdala and let our amygdala know, no, this is not going to happen. I am going to take this risk and it's all going to be okay. And one of the things that you can do, this is a really good hint, by the way, is when your amygdala starts to go crazy and you're thinking, oh, no, I can't do this. This is too hard. This is whatever. And you start to feel uncomfortable and weird and you even start to panic, just say, it's okay. We're going to calm down. And when this is done, when I've done this, I'll feel fine. As a matter of fact, I'll feel great. And then high five yourself. When you high five yourself, do you know what happens? You imprint in the amygdala that it's okay and it's a safe activity. And now your amygdala will not try to override your prefrontal cortex, and then you can start going forward again. Isn't that cool? This is our brain. We can control it. Remember, this is the panel. This is the control panel. Number 2 is notice the feelings and see yourself changing. This is called metacognition. I love this stuff, which is this is the definition, the awareness and understanding of one's own thought processes. Because oftentimes we're just not aware. We're just going along. And like I said, Groundhog Day, Groundhog Day, we say, evaluate, and analyze. When we do that, we get to shift things along. Number 3, the process starts great and then it gets iffy. Have you noticed that? Everything's going great. Then all of a sudden, you throw in a monkey wrench and things start to go off the rails again. And you just go back to the old stuff. And you're thinking, oh no, here we are again. And what I say to that is, your amygdala is going to say, okay, good. Yay. Here we are. We're back to normal. This is safe. This is good. But, to change your amygdala, you just need to give her a little gentle encouragement and just let her know, hey, you know what? We're going to go back onto this. Set yourself up some rules. Here's one of the ones that I have done. Like if I have a meal that's a little off the rails, go out and have a hamburger and French fries. Oh, well, it will happen. The next meal for sure is not going to be another off the rails meal. Even if I'm out, even if I'm traveling, even if I'm on vacation, I'm going to get right back into the saddle. And I have I take my blender with me, my little travel blender with me so I can go back into smoothies so that I don't get into a new habit that I took all that time to break. Does that make sense? But you have to set rules for yourself. When you set rules for yourself, you're giving yourself a boundary that's safe. Your amygdala is going to like that too, by the way. So don't listen to your amygdala when it says stay on the couch, don't work out. Recognize that you have control, okay? Number 3 is realize that a new program, a new pattern, a new thing to learn, it's going to take a minute. It's not going to be perfect, but you can rehearse. You could give yourself some rules. This is what it is. If I go off the rails, I go off the rails one time. If I skip a workout, I skip one workout. If I do this, I go back to this because this is the promises that I've made to myself. Keep your promises to yourself and you will reward your amygdala and your prefrontal cortex and you're going to feel good about yourself. Because when we break our promises to ourselves, our word becomes worthless. and our integrity gets a big fat ding in it. So let's not do that anymore. Recognize that when you keep your promises to others, you also need to step up and keep the promises to yourself. You're worth it. So we demystify the process of understanding that everything has a starting place. Yeah, everything has a starting place. And start with the rule, start with the thoughts, and start with what it is that I want and focus on that. Number 4 is to think and do in equal parts, right? As you think, then go do. As you do, high five yourself to reinforce exactly what you just did. You can find that BJ Fogg in Tiny Habits talked about this all the time. And it is just a reinforcement. Yes, you did the right thing. Yes, it is awesome. And yes, you feel good. Karen's asking, how long does it take to break a habit? It takes as long as it takes. They used to say 21 days, 28 days. And now they're saying it just really depends. BJ Fogg in his book, Tiny Habits, said it can actually take like 72 hours if you break it down into a tiny enough habit and then add to it and keep changing it up. And I like that. Don't you like that so much? I do. So it just makes sense. Do the next right thing is another way to look at it. Why not? So if we remember Michael Phelps, Michael Phelps was an incredible swimmer. And what he did was he really visualized. He had all the skills. He had everything together. But he visualized on touching the edge of that pool before anyone else with those really long arms. Think about our friend, why am I not thinking of her name? Diana Nyad. Think of our friend Diana Nyad and how she just thought about getting across that ocean at 64 years old, by the way. And she did it. So what are we going to do? How are we going to visualize our edge of the pool or getting across that ocean? You don't think that you have the same stuff as they do? Of course you do. You might not have the same athletic prowess, but you still have the same mind. You still have the same goods to deal with, because this is what is going to create everything that you want in your life. It's also going to take down and take away everything that you want in your life if you allow it to. You're in control. This is the panel. Number 5 is to rely on your inner world rather than your outer one, and set up your outer one. So listen, your friends, family might not come aboard. Your husband might think, oh, here she goes again. That could be the thing. But remember this, it's not about just having the problem go away or making it just, be less of an issue. We need to not give our power away to circumstances and understand that circumstances are just that. They're circumstances. We all have them and we all have to deal with them. The only thing that can control us, though, are our thoughts and our feelings. And we can change them up as necessary. Because remember, the devil didn't make you do it, even though Flip Wilson used to tell us all of that. Remember that back in the day? Anyone? Flip Wilson in the 60s? We just need to decide that this thought is worn out, old, and no longer serves me, and I'm not going to do this anymore. Get disgusted with it. Get fed up. And if we continue to fight this good fight, guess what happens? We align heart, mind, body, and soul. All the things are in alignment. And can I tell you how much easier life is when you're all in alignment and you're not having that constant struggle inside of your head? And believe me, this is the truth. Your mind will start feeling safe again. Your amygdala will say, okay, I'm good. I'm fine. Thank you. You'll be able to have hope, and you'll be able to cope without falling into negative habits, to cope with negative coping skills. And your hearts and minds will rejoice in this, because you now run the show, not your feelings, not your crazy thoughts. You do. And when you're in control, everything can change. Am I right? Amen, says Pink Nomad. Amen. All right. Well, that's today's show. I hope you found that helpful, because yes, pinky's up, says Nancy. I agree with you right on. Because I'll tell you what, this is the key. These are the keys to the kingdom for getting exactly what it is that you want. And the other part of it is setting goals. Next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, that's on August 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern, is our goal setting webinar. I'm going to show you how to set goals in a whole new way, in a way that works. Go to savingdinner.com/goals. That's where it all is. And I will see you. Actually, I'll see you tomorrow, but hopefully I'll see you there too. Peace be with you. I appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.